Okay, so our next class is going to be responding to terrorism. Front half of this, there's a bunch of slides with sound on it, so anybody watching on Facebook, I'm sorry, you're not going to get the sound because I'm going to have to mute my mic. So our objectives, we're going to define what terrorism is, examples of terrorism, how to pretty much try and figure out what a suspicious call is going to be, how to protect yourself, and then we're going to go over a scenario at the end. So terrorism is defined by the systematic use of terror, especially as means of coercion. This can be anybody that wants to use it to further their goal or cause, whether it be religious or non-religious. So anytime you ask anybody about terrorism, what does it look like? You get images like this, or in the Middle East, or if you live in a galaxy far, far away, this may be it, and then everybody's favorite terrorist. But terrorism just isn't over in the Middle East. Who can tell me who this is?
He's got 3 names. You can think of
Texas.
Yes, Charles Whitman. Charles Whitman. University of Texas, Austin, August 1st, 1966. Went on top of the tower. Killed 14 people, 15 if you include an unborn child. Was later killed during the siege. 31 more people were injured. Who knows what this is? Waco, Texas. The initial confrontation, 4 agents and 6 followers were killed. And the follow-up, total loss of life was 76 people. What's this? Oklahoma City. What do you use to bomb this building? Fertilizer and a rental truck. And that's now why we have big concrete pillars in front of federal buildings to not allow vehicles get close enough for this anymore. 168 confirmed dead, 680 were injured. There's a more recent one. Boston City Marathon, pressure cookers, 6 dead, 280 injured. 16 officers were injured during the pursuing firefight later on when they cornered them in the boat. And we know where this is? It's kind of a hazy picture. Neither. There's Russia. Yep, there's one of the more recent attacks, Russia in St. Petersburg. 16 dead, 64 injured. So terrorism is all around the globe, and it's increasing in popularity. I think a lot of that has to do with the way society is and the way social media and the way the media actually reports on it more. Back in the day, you never really heard about much stuff unless it was a huge incident. Now it seems like almost every incident's getting reported on, and they're trying to get their 5 minutes of fame to cover whatever they're trying to push. Where's this one? Chattanooga shooting on a recruiting station, 6 dead, 2 injured. So when we look at responding to these incidents, the methodology of how we respond is changing. Before, we would stage at a very far distance away and then wait for it to be all clear before we'd go in. Now we're finding that if we move in closer to where the danger is, we can effect better care. And so instead of the cold zone where we're always at, as EMS providers, being extremely far away from the event, we're going to be a lot closer to the warm and potentially even the hot zone. Always follow your department guidelines. So not every call that you get is going to easily be like, yep, that's terrorism. I ain't going to that. Or I'm going to stage 10 miles away. You may get a call, barn on fire. Or a good one would be down here in Loudon City, you got the co-op. Co-op has got a lot of potential. Use your common sense. Common sense goes a long way, and it's one of the most underutilized tools in your tool bag. And trust your instincts. If your instincts tell you something's off or doesn't seem right, it more likely is. You're like Spider-Man. Use your spidey senses. If your spidey senses are tingling, pay heed to them. So, a lot of videos that I have on here for explosions and roadside bombs come from the military over in Afghanistan and Iraq. So if you suspect, okay, this may be a potential terrorist incident, you also have to think about the possibility that you're getting lured in. Because one of the common TTPs or tactics that they like to use is they'll set off one explosion, draw on first responders to the kill zone, set off a secondary explosion. Because unfortunately they want to target us for whatever reason. So you got to look for stuff that's out of the ordinary. In this picture, if you're watching live, it's going to be hard to tell, but in the roadway, this road is discolored, and the barrier on the side of the road there has been damaged. So that should get your spidey senses tingling. And have a video. So they're going down the roadway. Here comes up that section of road that was in the picture. See how everything's nice on the side, on the right side there, and then the barrier coming up to it looks damaged. And that's exactly where the bomb was. MRAP rolled over, no loss of life, cuts and bruises for the crew. It was command detonated IED, and he prematurely detonated. Here's a bunch of videos of different IEDs going off. In all these, I don't believe anybody, all the research I did on all these videos, nobody lost life. It's hard to see in this video, but there's a grappling hook on the front there with the suspicious tire on the side of the roadway. So they're going to take that, try and move that tire to figure out if there's anything hidden in there. And there it goes. Yes. They tell you overseas, be suspicious of every piece of trash on the side of the road. But if you've ever been over there, there's trash everywhere. So it's kind of hard to be suspicious of every trash. But if the trash looks out of place, then be even more suspicious. And that's going with, you run these roads, you run these calls, you know what this town looks like. You know, okay, I'm going over to Miss Susie's house. I know the road, what it looks like. Well, let's say you're going to Miss Susie's house and now something looks out of place. That should. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to mute my mic. So with this part, it didn't show all those videos. targeted. It's right here at home as well. Recently there's the fire in New York. The guy said on purpose, they responded, he shot and killed 2 firemen. It's unfortunately becoming a bigger trend. All right, so like I was talking about with the explosions, look for clues. Use your spidey senses. We all run these roads on a regular basis. We all know what, Grove Street looks like. We all know what Mulberry looks like. So if you go out to a suspicious call and you think that, there may be a secondary device or that we're being targeted, some clues you can look for is freshly dug dirt, choke points, natural or man-made. So, if you got high banks on both sides of you and you got a burning car in front of you, they're trying to choke you into that point and do a roadblock. Dead or dying vegetation is another sign. One of the things that they used to use overseas is pile of rocks on the side of the road at certain incremental distances, so that way they knew exactly when to detonate the bomb. They could judge your speed by how fast you're passing those marks. Or, a story not fitting the call. So, you get called out because non-traumatic injury, you get there and the guy's got burns all over him, and, something just doesn't seem right, or a story's not fitting. So, like I was talking about with the new guidelines, the new TCCC recommendations of events that we learned about in Sandy Hook. What are you looking for? I'll share these videos later. So what we learned is that extremity hemorrhage was the #1 cause of preventable death. With Sandy Hook, if medical personnel could have got there sooner, they figured out that majority of the lives would have been saved. So we're finding that the cold zone is going to be a lot closer to the hot zone. So let's say we had an incident here at the courthouse. Here's how we typically respond. So you got the hot zone right there where the incident's at, warm zone, probably a block or 2 blocks around it. Cold zone, we're going to be staged way far away because we don't want to be anywhere close to where the bad guy is. Where the new guidelines are changing is that cold zone. If we know that, let's say it's a lone gunman, law enforcement has them pinned to this location, EMS, first responders, we can go to the back of the building, grab as many people as we can, and get out of there and try and do what we can with what we have. So you want to make sure you protect yourself, protect your partner, because you want to go home at night. I know I do. Every night I want to go home. It usually doesn't happen till morning. So retreat to a safe distance, ask for help. What's our Mayday code? Code blue. Overwatch care. If you think you're in a high threat area and it's only you and your partner, one person can treat the patient while the other one is standing watching the environment around you. Because usually when you're treating somebody, you're going to be focused on that patient and you're not going to have 360-degree field of view. So if Dan and I were on the truck, Dan was treating the patient, I could stand next to him, keep an eye out for anything that's going on around me. All right, so here's our scenario. What's significant about July 1st of this year? Rocking the docks. Pretty big event around here, right? All right, so 2000 hours, multiple people report to the aid tent about 6 symptoms of nausea and vomiting. Does that clue anybody into something maybe foul? Right, could be as easy. 2030, Fort Loudon has experiences a rush of people in the lobby complaining nausea, vomiting symptoms. They're recommending people divert if you have to. 2100, supervisor page sent out advising there's some sort of disturbance on the dam. So, quick Google map. Here we have Rocking the Docks. 8 o'clock, a bunch of people are getting sick here. 9 o'clock, there's a disturbance on the dam. Don't know what it is, but that's all the supervisor page said. 2110, Loudoun County Sheriff's Office advised to find an alternate route. Protesters blocking the dam. So what is the alternate route?
All the way through 444, 72.
If you can get to 444. Depends on where they're at. Okay, so you think that's going to affect response times, resources? All right, 2125, 911 centers flooded with calls about an explosion at the dam. Responders at Rockland Docks report seeing a huge fireball in the sky. 2130, imminent dam failure collapse is reported. No. Telka Village is going to be fine. So here we have the dam on a bright sunny day, and then bam, explosions. I know, great graphic. So what considerations do you think we're going to have about this event? Right. Yeah, so all the boats that are up here for Rocking the Docks, right? They're going to be panicked.
And they're all tied together.
Yes. So they're going to be panicked.
Below the dam, massive flooding.
Right. So here we have the two events. Explosion here, everything downriver, right? So a lot of people think, well, you know, explosions in Lenore City, how's that going to affect me down here at Loudoun City? Well, as that tidal wave of water comes crashing through, it could affect the bridge right here, affect the bridge on 75, railroads. So that little event just became a massive countywide event. And it's going to provide extreme chaos. Right. So do you think our resources are going to be overwhelmed?
Yeah.
Right.
You had a bunch of protesters on the dock, you're gonna have a whole lot of bodies in it.
Right. So a bunch of protesters on the dam.
They'll be broken out by now. Oh, okay.
Well, more than likely, if you have a bunch of protesters on the dam and the explosion's right there enough to make the dam collapse, you're not going to find body parts. They'll be incinerated in the initial blast. So everything downriver, plus everything in Lenore City, because I guarantee an explosion of that much magnitude is going to damage a bunch of stuff downtown Lenore City as well. So in summary, trust your gut. Look for what's out of place. Our response zones are being more fluid, meaning that we're not always staging far, far away, never land where it's all nice and safe. Events may be very simple. A simple one-time event, you know, somebody's trying to make homemade bombs in their basement, they blow themselves up, and it's contained just to that area, or it can be extremely complex. And it will get overwhelming very fast. Who can tell me besides Travis, Jennifer, and Dan who we contact for mass casualty incidents?
RSCC.
Right, but what's the easier way to do that? Do you got the phone number in your phone?
458-9881.
Call dispatch. Yep. So what that will do, so usually what will happen is if a massive event like that, dispatch will more than likely automatically contact them for us. But if they don't, whoever's in charge of medical command will have them activated. And what they will do is they will call all area hospitals, get immediate bed board status of how many patients they can take, and then also contact all services in the surrounding counties for mutual aid. So that way we don't have to do that ourselves.
Secondary issue with that scenario, though, is that everything south of us is not going to be able to help us because they're going to have their own problems. Because all that water is going to flow south, it's going to start taking dam after dam after dam.
Not so south. I mean, Rome County will, but Monroe County won't. Because they're on the Telco side.
And not only that, but you also have to think about where are they responding from and how are they going to help.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry. Anything along the river course.
Yeah. Like I said, anything anyway.
All right, anybody have any questions?
Can we test my megaphone on your computer? computer now?
I don't have any more videos.